Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Radiant Central, and I'm your host Natasha St. Michael, and thank you so much for joining me. So today I want to talk about the topic of being too serious. It's funny, this week I have to say at least 3 people have brought this subject up to me, and I find it always interesting when you go through days where every person you're talking to or getting together with is talking about the same issue. And a lot of times I feel like that's kind of like a message from the universe telling me that maybe I need to really be opening up my ears and learning from this as well. And so the topic of seriousness has been coming up in a lot of my conversations with people. Yesterday I got together with a friend of mine who has a son that's close in age with my daughter, and she's saying that ever since her and her husband, they had their baby, everything's become so serious. And that's created a strain in their relationship because they're so serious all the time. And I have another person I was talking to that was talking about her friendships. They're always so serious. Everything they talk about is so serious. And everything gets so heavy. And I have to say that as for my own personality, I have a tendency to be one of those people that gets too serious. And a lot of times that really, it creates so many issues in my relationships with people, and my friendships, and even the amount of stress that I carry from day to day because I'm so serious about everything I do. And a lot of times I need to check in with myself to ask myself, am I being too serious? Are my standards too high? Are my expectations too high? Am I carrying too much of a load? Am I taking things way too seriously? And a lot of times once I kind of look through that and reflect on it, I realized that I need to take things down a notch. And it doesn't necessarily mean to be lazy. It doesn't necessarily mean to not care. It doesn't necessarily mean to be irresponsible. It just means sometimes we shouldn't be taking life too seriously, or taking everything so seriously, or having our interactions with people be so serious. Sometimes we need to just get back to the basics of having a good time, or taking a break and lightening things up a bit, and not putting so much pressure on ourselves, and not having such high expectations and standards that no one can live up to, and that sometimes if there's issues, it's about just taking it down a notch and just letting things work itself out, or letting things be as they are, but be a bit more lighthearted about approaching it. Because a lot of times I find we can find solutions and resolutions and ways of doing things and being more productive when we're less serious. A lot of times we can take care of things when we're not feeling that heaviness of perfection, or that things need to be done a certain way or no way. So I wanted to bring up this idea of being too serious and on today's video for people to think about it. Are they being too serious? And what do they do when they find themselves being too serious? And how does being too serious affect your life in a positive way and also in a negative way? Because I know for myself, being a serious person, I do get a lot of things done, and I know that I'm able to achieve a lot of things because I'm able to focus and be serious. But I know at the same time that if it gets too extreme and I'm too serious, then things fall out of harmony. I start to have issues with people. I start having discord and problems. And I feel stressed all the time, because everything needs to be done a certain way, or people need to be doing things in a certain way, and they're not. And so for me, a lot of times when I find myself being way too serious, I have to check in with myself and snap out of that and start doing things that are not serious, or doing things that are lighthearted, or take a break from the seriousness for a bit and just laugh and have a good time. Go out and do something and have a good time. Sometimes I have to ask myself, when was the last time I laughed? When was the last time something funny happened and that I shared that story about that funny thing happened? When was the last time that I had a conversation with so-and-so about something that was light? It's things like that. It's checking in with yourself to make sure that you're not falling down that road where everything is so heavy and dark and serious and burdensome and just difficult. All right, so that's my little tip for today. Something to think about, something to talk about, and something to maybe inspire you to do something in a different way. All right, and I just want to remind everyone too that the next 7-day raw food challenge, it starts Monday, August 18th. If you want to do a 7-day cleanse where you actually get to eat healthy, wonderful food, fresh food, wonderful local food, this is something you got to try out, especially if you want to learn how to make more healthier recipes and see what it's like to having a week off of anything cooked or anything processed and press that reset button to start eating healthy again, definitely join us for the next 7-day raw food challenge. It's 7 days being on a 100% raw food diet, and it's an online program, so you can do it anywhere from around the world. And there's an online forum that you get to connect with everyone doing the challenge with you. There's recipes and a menu planner and guidelines for the challenge. And I'm on the forum every day answering questions and offering additional support and motivation. And there's also videos that walk you through everything you need to know about the raw diet and the cleanse. All right, so if you want to join us, you can sign up at radiantcentral.com, click on products, and you'll see the 7-day raw food challenge there. And it starts Monday, August 18th. Have a super fabulous day, everyone, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.